Hello and welcome to Miss Lowry's third grade ELA class. Today we're going to start with word study. Our word study objective is, today I can use context within and beyond a sentence to determine the meaning of unfamiliar words and multiple meaning words. Today we're going to be looking at antonyms. An antonym is a word that is opposite in meaning to another word. Antonyms show how two things are different. So if I was trying to find an antonym of cool, it will be warm. That's the opposite. So today we're going to be looking at some context clues questions. My first step is to always read my passage. Once there was a princess who ate toast with jam every morning for breakfast. She was 5 years old, which meant she had eaten jam 1,826 times. But the princess did not like jam. She only ate it because it was all that was offered, besides milk, of course. So after reading the text, I want to determine the meaning of the unfamiliar or underlined word. So the word I'm looking at is offered. So I want to look for clues in the text that will help me determine what that meaning is. So some clues in the text that I pulled out is that she only ate it, and that's all that they gave to her. So they only offered her jam. She only ate it because she was offered it, and that's all they gave her beside jam. So from there, I want to determine a meaning. I want to come up with my own meaning. So the meaning that I came up with offered is if they offered her something, that's to give someone something. So they offered her jam, so they gave her jam. But the question asks in paragraph 1, what is the antonym of the word offered? If I remember, antonym means the opposite. So I want to find something that means the opposite of to offer someone, to give someone something. So from there, I want to eliminate two answer choices that is not going to be the opposite of offered. The first one I got rid of is eat. To give someone something, the opposite of that is not going to eat something. So I'm going to get rid of B. And another one I'm going to get rid of is favorite. Favorite is not the opposite of offering someone to giving someone something. So if you give someone something, I want to determine, is the opposite of that taking something or something is available for you? From there, I determined that the best answer choice is taken. Taken is going to be opposite of offer because if someone offers you something, they're giving you something. The opposite of someone giving you something is you taking it from them. So that's why I determined that the best antonym of offered is taken. Now you give it a try. Remember, you want to read the sentence. Then you want to look for clues to help you determine the meaning of the underlined word. From there, you're going to create your own definition or meaning, eliminating two answer choices, and then picking the best answer choice from the two remaining. Let's check our answer. Your first step is to read your passage. When she turned 6, the queen said, "What would you like for breakfast?" The princess knew immediately. I would like something new to put on my toast. So we wanted to look for clues in the text that helped us to figure out the meaning of the word immediately. So she knew immediately. So that is the clue that I picked from the text. From there, I determined that the meaning was that she knew it quickly without hesitation. She didn't have to think about it. So which word is the antonym for the word immediately in paragraph 3? So if we're looking, antonym, again, we know means opposite. So we want to determine which one of these answer choices is the opposite of immediately, which is quickly and without hesitation. I eliminated answer choice C, safely. To me, that's not the opposite of immediately. Safely has nothing to do with her doing it quickly or without hesitating. And I got rid of peacefully. So I had A, instantly, and B, eventually. So I'm looking for the opposite of quickly, without hesitation. If I'm looking at that, A is going to be a synonym. So the antonym of immediately is eventually. Because if you do something eventually, that means you're going to do it when you get to it. You're going to pause for a minute. You're not really quick to do something. So if she's not quick to do something, that's the opposite of immediately. We're now going to move into our reading lesson. Our reading objective comes from ELA 3.8b. Today I can analyze the relationships between major and minor characters. This week we're moving into a new genre. Today we're going to look deep into traditional tales. Traditional tales are stories that are usually passed from one generation to the next, and the purpose of them is to entertain. So we'll see characters that may be animals or people that have superhuman or magical abilities. The setting is not going to be like a real place in real life. We're still going to have a plot that has a conflict and a resolution, but some of the events that happen probably wouldn't happen in real life. We're still going to see a plot where we have settings, characters, and a sequence of events. Oftentimes we'll see a moral or we see a lesson that is learned. So some type of traditional tales we have are folklores, legends, myths, tall tales, fables, or fairy tales. Kompe Mono and Como Jicotia is a folk tale. Folk tales are traditional stories that have been passed down orally from one generation to another. We see in folk tales creatures or animals that talk as characters. In this, they have a plot where you have characters, which are animals, a setting, and a problem and a solution. Folktales are often going to include a moral or a lesson learned. And these include beliefs and ideas of a certain culture. Like always, before we read, I want to go over some vocabulary words that you will see in the story. Theft. Theft is the act of taking something that belongs to someone else. The dog was guilty of theft. Inspected. If you inspected something, you checked it very carefully. Robert inspected the spider using a magnifying glass. Sympathetic. When you are sympathetic to someone, you are kind and understanding about his or her situation. The coach offers sympathetic words to Annalise when she is hurt. Suspicious. If you are suspicious of someone, you are untrusting of that person. Emma is suspicious as Jake wakes next to her locker. Reputation. If you have a reputation for something, others know or remember you for that thing. Miss Tam has a reputation of being the nicest teacher at school. Crafty. Someone who is crafty uses clever or tricky ways to get what he or she wants. Olivia found a crafty way to convince her mother to let her eat a strawberry before dinner.
Compe and come are short for compadre and comadre. If a man is godfather to your child, he is your compadre. A woman who is godmother to your child is your comadre. Since people usually choose good friends to be their child's godparent, compadre and comadre often just mean good friend. Kompe Mono the monkey and Kome Jikoti the turtle were neighbors, and they seemed to be the very best of friends. Kompe Mono was a hard worker. He had a fine little farm where he raised all sorts of good food. In the east, he planted pumpkins, and in the west, cassava. In the north, he raised sweet potatoes, and in the south, yams. Each day, Kompe Mono visited every corner of his farm to pull up the weeds and make sure no harm had come to his crops. He was looking forward to a very good harvest. But just before the pumpkins were ready to be picked, Kompe Mono noticed that someone had entered his field at night and stolen some. At least 10 of them were missing. Kompe Mono was worried, and later that day he talked to his neighbor, Kome Jikoti, about the theft. "You'd better stay up tonight and guard your field," the turtle told him. "Stand there on that little hill at the eastern end of your farm," she advised. From there, you can keep watch over your pumpkins and see if anyone enters the field. Kompe Mono followed the advice of his comadre. All night he stood at the eastern end of his little farm, carefully watching over the pumpkin patch to make sure no one entered. But the next morning, when Kompe Mono inspected the whole farm, he discovered that while he was guarding the pumpkins in the east, someone had entered the western end and stolen his yucca. Theft is the act of taking something that belongs to someone else. Inspect it. If you inspected something, you checked it very carefully. Kompe Mono told Kome Jikotia what had happened. "You must have fallen asleep, his comadre told him. "Tonight, let me guard your farm. The thief will probably enter the southern field this time. I'll stand guard there so that no one can steal your nyames." Kompe Mono agreed. And that night, while Kome Jikotia guarded the yams in the southern field, someone stole the boniatos in the northern field. The next day, Kompe Mono told the turtle what had happened. Of course, she was very surprised and sympathetic. "How could that be? She said, shaking her head. "I never closed my eyes all night long. This must be a very clever thief." Sympathetic. When you are sympathetic to someone, you are kind and understanding about his or her situation. Kompe Mono was beginning to get suspicious. He knew that Kome Jikotia had a reputation for being tricky. But monkeys can be tricky too. And Kompe Mono thought of a way to find out what was going on. Yes, the monkey said to his comadre. "There must be a very clever and dangerous thief in these parts. The next thing you know, come into my house and steal my money. I know what I better do. I'm going to hide all my money up in the loft. No one would ever think of looking for it up there." That night, Kompe Mono lay awake in bed listening. Late in the night, he heard someone tugging at the door. Slowly it opened. And then in came the humpback form of Kome Jikotia. She headed straight toward the loft and began climbing the ladder. Kompe Mono jumped out of bed and grabbed her. "You're the thief!" he shouted. "You're the one who stole my pumpkins and my yucca, and you thought you'd steal all my money too. I ought to throw you into the fire." Suspicious. If you are suspicious of someone, you are untrusting of that person. Reputation. If you have a reputation for something, others know or remember you for that thing. Kome Jikotia looked very ashamed. "You're right," she said. "I deserve to be punished, but it won't help to throw me into the fire. My shell won't burn, and I'll never learn a lesson from that." You should throw me into the river. I'm terrified of the cold water, but I know it's just what I deserve. As everyone knows, monkeys are afraid of water. And so what that crafty Jikatia said made sense to Kompe Mono. He picked up the turtle and ran to the river with her. He threw her as far out into the water as he could. And of course, the tricky little Kome Jikatia swam away, laughing to herself. To this day, Kome Jikatia sometimes comes out to sun herself on the bank of the river, but she spends most of her time in the water. She knows Kompe Mono still wants to catch her and punish her, but she knows that if she just jumps into the river, the monkey will never dive in after her. Crafty. Someone who is crafty uses clever or tricky ways to get what he or she wants.
Here are some turning talk questions. Number one. What kind of relationship did Kompe Mono and Komo Jikatia have at the beginning of the story? I want you to answer that using the following sentence stem. Kompe Mono and Komo Jikatia relationship at the beginning of the story was Number two, what event in the story made Kompo Mono change how he views Komo Jikatia's friendship with him? Using the following sentence stem. Blank happened during the story, which made Kompe Mono change how he views Komo Jikatia friendship towards him. And last, what is the lesson learned in Kompe Mono and Komo Jikatia? The lesson learned from the story is So today we're going to be analyzing the relationship between the major and the minor characters. So major characters are central to the story, and minor characters support the major characters. So authors bring these characters and subjects to life in five different ways. They bring them alive with their appearance. They talk about what the character looks like, traits, what qualities or abilities does the character have, their voice and dialogue. How does the character sound? How does the character speak to others? Their behaviors. How does the character act? How does he or she respond to conflicts or problems? And then their thoughts and emotion. What does the character think or feel? When we're looking at the relationship between major and minor characters, we can think about them having positive and negative relationships with each other. Do they have a positive relationship with each other, or do they have a negative relationship with each other? We'll be using the following graphic organizers to help us think about the relationship between the major and the minor characters in our story. So I'm going to look at the character of Kompe Mono. Some traits to describe him. He was a monkey. He was a hard worker. He was trustworthy, and he was clever. His challenge in the story was to find out who was stealing from him. He responded to that challenge by having to be more clever than the thief to figure out who was stealing from him. He had to be clever. Then I want to think about his relationship with the other character in the story. So in the story, he was friends with Kompe, but they became enemies by the end of the story when he found out that he was stealing from him. I now want you to think of the character of Komo Jikatia. What kind of person is Kompe? What was Kompe challenges? How did Kompe respond to that challenge? And what was the relationship between Kompe and Come. Then I want you to think about what are the similarities between the two characters and what are the differences between the two characters. Let's check our answer. So some words to describe Come is that he was a turtle. He also was very clever, but he was untrustworthy. He had a bad reputation. His challenge was he had to think of a way to stay from Come. So if we remember this image from the story, he had to find a way to try to stay away from him. So to do that, he tricked Come into not throwing him into the fire. We could describe their relationship as they were friends. After lying and stealing from Come, he became one of his enemies. Or he became his enemy. Some major and minor similarities between our characters. Come and Come are both clever. Come had to be clever to try to figure out who was stealing from him. And Come was clever into tricking Come into thinking that someone else was stealing from him. He was also clever in tricking him into keeping him alive and having him throw him in the fire. Some major differences between our characters, however, is that Come is trustworthy. And Come is trustworthy. And Come has a bad reputation. So everyone already knew about him, so he wasn't very trustworthy. So remember, when we're looking at the relationships between characters and stories, we want to think do the characters have a positive or do they have a negative relationship? In this story, we can say that the characters had an overall negative relationship with each other. They became enemies. But remember, the relationship changed from the beginning to the end. Because in the beginning, our characters had a positive relationship with each other. They were friends. They were neighbors. But then towards the end, they had a negative relationship with each other when they became enemies. Pompe Mono was no longer able to trust Pompe Jakatia because he was stealing from him and lying to him. We're now going to move to the writing lesson portion of our lesson. The first part comes from the objective ELA 3.11a. Today I can develop a draft by planning a first draft using strategies such as brainstorming, free writing, and mapping. Last week in our writing process, we started in the pre-writing. So now we're going to move to the next part of the draft. Here's a reminder of the writing prompt that we are writing our personal narrative on. Write about one of your goals for this year and how you think you can accomplish them. Remember, a good personal narrative tells a story about an event from the writer's life. It's going to include a beginning, a middle, and an end, giving details to help the reader understand the experience of that person and explains why the experience was important. As a reminder, we use the following graphic organizer to help organize our learning. So our writing prompt again was write about one of your goals for this year and how you think you can accomplish them. We identified our audience as our students and teachers, and the purpose is to entertain. So we chose one goal from our graphic organizer that we want to focus on. So the goal that I'm focusing on is my goal of saving money monthly. We then planned our beginning, our middle, and our end. With our beginning catching our readers' attention and addressing the readers and establish the purpose of the writing. The middle giving details about how the goal is going to be achieved. And then in the end, it tells why I want to accomplish this goal, why we want to accomplish this goal, and what is going to be the outcome. So again,
here's
here's
a
a
blank
blank
graphic
organizer.
organizer.
If you were
If you
not
were
able
not
to
able
get
to
this
get this
graphic
graphic
organizer
organizer
complete
last
lesson,
lesson,
I'm going to give you a few moments to try to fill in
the
the beginning,
beginning,
the
the
middle, and
middle,
the
and
end,
the
just
end, just
planning it
planning
out.
it out.
In our
In our
previous
previous
lesson, we
lesson,
worked
we worked
on
on
our
our
introduction.
introduction.
The
The
introduction
introduction
catches the
catches
reader's
the reader's
attention,
attention,
and the
and the
writer
writer
addresses the
addresses the
readers
readers
and
and
establishes the
establishes the
purpose of the
purpose of the
writer.
writer.
In my
In my
introduction, I
introduction,
had
I had
my
my
hook, I hooked my reader. I
I
used a
used a
quote in
quote
order
in
to hook
order
my
to hook my
reader,
reader,
and I
and I
explained
explained
what my
what my
paper was
paper
going
was
to be
going to be
about.
about.
You have
You have
officially
officially
saved
saved
10,000,
10,000,
the bank
the bank
teller let
teller
me
let me
know.
know.
I
I
cannot wait
cannot
to
wait
hear
to
those
hear those
words.
words.
One goal
One
that
goal
I
that I
have
have
is
is
to
to
save
save
a
a
certain
certain
amount of
amount of
money
money
each
each
month.
month.
We're now
We're
going to
now
move
going to
to the
move to the
body of our
body of our
paper.
paper.
In our
In
body,
our
we're
body,
going to be
we're going to be
giving
giving
details about
details about
how
how
the
the
goal
goal
is
is
going
going
to
to
be
be
achieved.
achieved.
I want to
I
give
want
at
to give at
least
least
2
2
ways that
ways
I'm
that
going
I'm
to
going to
achieve
achieve
this
this
goal.
goal.
Here's the
Here's
body
the
of my
body of my
paper.
paper.
Again, I'm
Again, I'm
giving
giving
details about
details
how
about
I'm
how
going
I'm
to
going to
achieve my
achieve my
goal of
goal of
saving money
saving money
monthly.
monthly.
In order
In
to
order
meet
to
my
meet my
goal,
goal,
I will
I
need
will
to
need to
budget my
budget
money.
my money.
Budgeting my
Budgeting my
money will
money will
help me
help me
only
only
spend on
spend on
necessities.
necessities.
Buying only
Buying
the
only
things
the
I
things I
need
need
will help
will
me
help me
be able
be
to
able
not
to not
overspend.
overspend.
I
I
also need
also
to
need to
stick to the
stick to the
budget.
budget.
When I want
When I
to
want to
buy things
buy
that are
things that
not
are
on my
not on my
budget,
budget,
I must
I
remind
must remind
myself that I
myself that I
created a
created a
budget for a
budget for a
reason.
reason.
Any
Any
extras I
extras
buy
I buy
must be on
must
the
be on the
budget for
budget
the
for
month.
the month.
Here,
Here,
I
I
gave my
gave my 2
2 ways that
ways
I
that
am
I am
going
going
to
to
save money
save money
monthly.
monthly.
I'm going to
I'm going to
create a
create a
budget,
budget,
and I'm
and
not
I'm not
going
going
to
to
steer
steer
away from
away
that
from that
budget.
budget.
So here
So
in your
here in
body
your body
paragraph,
paragraph,
you're going to
you're
give
going
at
to give
least
at least
2
2
ways
ways
that you're
that
going
you're
to
going to
achieve
achieve
this
this
goal.
goal.
Now you
Now
give it
you
a
give it a
try.
try.
We made it
We
to the
made it to
end,
the end,
everyone.
everyone.
So today
So
we
today
looked
we
at
looked at
antonyms,
antonyms,
and
and
antonyms are
antonyms
words
are
that are
words that are
opposite.
opposite.
It
It
changes the
changes
meaning
the
of the
meaning of the
sentence when we
sentence
put
when
an
we put an
antonym in the
antonym in the
sentence.
sentence.
We also
We
looked
also looked
at
at
traditional
traditional
tales.
tales.
And
And
traditional tales
traditional
and
tales and
stories are
stories are
stories that are
stories that are
told
told
from one
from one
generation to
generation to
another
another
generation.
generation.
Oftentimes, we'll see
Oftentimes we'll see
characters that are
characters that are
animals.
animals.
We'll see
We'll see
characters that
characters that
have
have
magical
magical
abilities
abilities
or
or
superhuman
superhuman
qualities.
qualities.
But we're
But we're
always going to
always going to
see a
see a
setting.
setting.
We're going to
We're
see
going to see
characters.
characters.
The story is
The
going to
story is
have a
going to have a
conflict,
conflict,
and it's going to
and it's
have
going
a
to have a
resolution.
resolution.
Today we
Today
looked
we
at the
looked at the
characters in the
characters in the
story and
story
the
and the
relationships they
relationships
have.
they have.
So
So
characters can
characters
either
can
have
either have
positive
positive
relationships with each other or
or
negative
negative
relationships with
relationships
each
with
other.
each other.
These
These
relationships can
relationships can
change
change
throughout the
throughout the
story.
story.
So they can
So they
start
can
with a
start with a
positive
positive
relationship
relationship
and end with
and
a
end with a
negative,
negative,
or
or
start with a
start with a
negative
negative
relationship
relationship
and end with
and
a
end with a
positive.
positive.
When
When
looking at
looking
how
at
those
how those
relationships
relationships
change,
change,
we have to
we
think
have to think
about
about
what made
what
that
made that
change
change
happen. And
And
lastly,
lastly,
we've
we've
looked at our
looked at our
personal
personal
narrative.
narrative.
Today, we did
Today,
the
we did the
body of our
body of our
personal
personal
narrative,
narrative
where
where
we
we
wrote
wrote
details about how we were going to achieve our goal for the year. Thank you
Thank you
again for
again for
joining into
joining
my
into my
lesson for
lesson for
today.
today.
I hope
I hope
everyone had
everyone
an
had an
amazing
amazing
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
and a
and a
Thanksgiving break.
Thanksgiving break.
I look
I
forward
look
to I look forward to seeing you again next week.